Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni. Malabai.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Victoria. Tundu. I'm Kiwa Abiola.
Good morning, Stephanie.
Let's start the review with this day. Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, ASUU strike. Federal government will not sign agreement. It cannot implement, says minister. Government reiterates offer to include 200 billion naira in 2023 budget for varsities. Varsities revitalization, outstanding areas. Says it can only afford 23.5% salary increase, professorial cadre to get 35% upward review. Constitutes team to review BRICS committee recommendations. VCs recommend 800,000 naira salary for professors. Yes, another committee. I hope this is the final committee, or there will be another committee somewhere along the line. But other newspapers are also reporting this story. So let's look at how other newspapers are reporting the ASUU strike. At least the update on the ASUU strike and government offers. Now, the Guardian newspaper. Federal government to revisit no work, no pay as VCs push to end strike. Federal government announces 23.5% salary increase for lecturers. VCs committee push for 50% increase. Adamu, we have done our best to end strike. Buhari raises committee to look at ASUU's demand. Kabweze petrol subsidy funds can be channeled to ASUU. Increase workers' pay. Anglican bishops to ASUU. Federal government not ready for you. Return to class. Let's declare 3-day strike. Labour leader tells NLC TUC. Kanu moves to pull out of 7-month strike. Management can't force us to resume. Kaduna lecturers insist. The Daily Trust also reporting the story. After meeting VCs, pro-chancellors, federal government offers professors 35% pay rise. Others, varsity workers, 23.5%. To release 200 billion naira next year for revitalization and allowances. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, strike committee of VCs wants 800,000 naira salary for professors. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, PDP, fresh plots to oust ASUU on. Allies plan counter moves. Wicked groups in fresh plot to oust ASUU. National Working Committee backs him. Why Atiku must preside over next session, BOT member. Says ex-VP playing politics with ASUU's removal. One item agenda on the card. Stop fooling Rivers people, Wike tells PDP. Worried governorship aspirants to meet Wike. Atiku meets PDP reps, members, appoints Aniagu media aide. APC mocks PDP chair. Yes, also the front page of Daily Independent newspaper. Of course, the lead story is ASUU, but the second lead, Tinubu's loyalists want APC chair Adamu removed before campaigns. Yes, according to the report, loyalists of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presidential candidate of the APC, are making subtle move to kick out national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, before campaign for the 2020 general elections commences. Daily Independent reporting that story. Now, the Nation newspaper, of course, ASUU is the lead story. Now, the story below the lead. PDP campaign team. Atiku may Sean Wike, Tambuwa, Lugwayin, Oyinlola tipped as DG. Detractors after my life, says Rivers Governor. PDP governorship candidates in Port Harcourt. Leave us out of your mess. APC wants ASUU. Now, the Punch newspaper, anti-drug war. Federal government freezes 600 accounts, seizes 249 luxury cars. NDLA confiscates $1.3 million, 102,000 pounds, 40 million CFA, 252 million naira drug proceeds. Court orders interim forfeiture of billionaire Ukatu's 25 property factory. Don't buy drugs for youths. Agency warns politicians ahead of campaigns. While the Business Day newspaper, firms face fresh cost of doing business crisis. Yes, companies in Africa's biggest economy are facing cost of doing business crisis as the soaring cost of diesel and transportation have made it increasingly difficult for them to operate. Of course, the state of the Nigerian economy, with the price of diesel, most industrial concerns still depending on generators to power their machines. Now, the foreign newspapers, quickly, the Times of London, we can ride the storm. Yes, Liz Truss vows to get country working and growing. In first speech as Prime Minister, historic tax cuts and bailouts to be unveiled. While the Financial Times also reporting that story. Truss assumed office with vow to steer Britain out of energy storm. Of course, cabinet announcement. Kwesi Kwatong, now the Chancellor, expectedly. Kemi Badenoch also in the mix. And of course, the new Foreign Secretary. The Foreign Secretary position seems to be the route to the Prime Minister. Will that be the fate of the new Foreign Secretary? But again, right wing having their way. Ruben Rufai and Tundu.
Well, I see many Nigerians are excited about the emergence of Kemi Badenoch as International Trade Secretary because of our Nigerian ancestry. But I always make the point here that, look, when we see Nigerians, persons of Nigerian ancestry occupying prominent positions internationally, we are always very quick to claim them. But essentially, I think Kemi Badenoch sees herself more as a British, rather than as a Nigerian. But she has this connection with Nigeria. She can speak the native language of Yoruba in Nigeria. But I think her commitment will be, trying to deliver on our responsibilities now as the Trade Secretary, which is a very important position. And then, of course, a lot of excitement about Kwasi Kwarteng, who is Chancellor. And Kwasi Kwarteng, of course, also comes to the job, with very strong credentials. Double first from Cambridge, a PhD, also, I think, from the same Cambridge, graduated from Eton, very bright, person who has distinguished himself in various positions. And if you look at the age bracket, the Prime Minister is 47. Kwasi Kwarteng himself is 47. Kemi Badenoch is 42. You can just look at that range. So, these are very bright people with very significant experience who are going to provide leadership. Maybe there's a lesson there for Nigeria, where we're still trapped in the, trapped as victims of a gerontocratic order in Nigeria, where is the people who are tired and retired, that seem to hold a special attraction. Okay, look at the process in the UK. I think we might also just draw attention to that. It has taken, Liz Truss less than 24 hours to announce a cabinet. The issues that cabinet will work on, have been properly defined. Here in Nigeria, we'll start running a campaign by September 20th. Nobody knows, very clearly enough, what many of the political parties
we've not seen their programs.
We want to do. We've not seen the programs. We don't know in what direction. It's only in Nigeria where it takes 180 days to resolve election petitions, 6 months. We take all the time in the world. In fact, you can become president of Nigeria or a governor and you can run the country or the state for a whole year. You claim that you are still looking for a cabinet to put together. Look, that's not how it's done in other parts of the world. So maybe that's something that we can take away from the latest development. And then, of course, the diversity. Although I qualify that diversity with the fact that, she seems to be on a revenge mission, to just prove a point. Although Michael Wilson has a different point of view. That when you get into a position, it's better to surround yourself with persons of like minds rather than to experiment even when you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, she might be trying to run a tight ship, but like I said earlier, she might really be punished for that.
Yeah.
Well, I like your point about the ageist and sexist society that we operate here in Nigeria. Even institutions that should know better fall into that trap, don't they, every so often? But if we're talking about borrowing a leaf from, her book in terms of how she's hit the ground running.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of recent headlines about so-and-so party already trying to decide who gets what position in a premature fashion. And I read that and I wonder, what is the point of that story exactly? Are you not supposed to plan? I'm sure Rishi Sunak also had a list of cabinet officials, which obviously will never see the light of day. Yeah. You are supposed to plan ahead. You are supposed to be presumptuous because you're not running a race in the expectations of losing. Now, are you? It's this, when you think that you make a virtue of slovenliness, sort of ambling along, is when you now end up without a cabinet for 6 months.
And it's really important that you said that, Tunde, because we can still say that a country not having a cabinet for 6 months really impacted on the economic prospects of Nigeria.
Yeah.
It did do
Look at what the UK has been through for 2 months when they had a rudderless government.
With no leadership. And
yes.
We're still reeling from that one way or the other. And that's why the UK has a system where they even have a shadow cabinet in the waiting. Just like if Labour takes power at some point, the Labour has their own shadow cabinet, everybody waiting in the wings. But it also goes back. What even excites me the more about the UK, apart from this very right cabinet, is it also goes back to the way that society has structured it in such a way that it is the best and the brightest brains that get leadership. Look at the likes of Kwesi Kwarteng, Ghanaian immigrant. In 1995, I have an old clip that I watched of him attending University Challenge, getting up to semi-finals. Brightest brain. Look at Liz Truss. Yes, you might not say she might be the brightest in the room. Oxford graduates. Brightest, very good brain. Not as bright as Kwesi Kwarteng. Look at Julia Breverman. Look at other people on the cabinet. Look at the likes of Kemi Badenoch. These are people that have done something with their lives. Come back to Nigeria. Thugs, touts.
That is not even the problem.
All sorts of people.
Your constitution says qualification.
Primary school, primary 6.
No, secondary school.
Secondary school.
Attempted secondary
school.
The equivalent.
You can have
F9
parallel. So where is Oxford in the mix?
And this is the same Nigerians that want Oxford-like activity, performance. But the constitution is saying you can have F9 parallel in school. You don't even need to provide your certificates. Should we go there?
No.
You don't even need to provide certificates.
No, let me just add this.
Rat can eat certificates.
No.
They don't need to provide primary school.
Rufai, the day we have the courage to amend our constitution,
that's the day our life will be better.
To ensure that the minimum requirement to be a governor, a president, will be at least a university degree. That day, people will be looking for Ruben, first class brain.
So when we now complain,
you will not have to spend money because they will be looking for you.
I have a response to that.
When we now complain on the international scene that, we have a Nigerian leader, we don't like the oratory, we don't like this, we don't like that. But our system accommodates it. Also, we want good leaders, but all of us are still caught on the line of tribalism, religion, and all of that.
No, but the constitution.
Anyway, before we stretch this thing to the level of hate speech, because some people are sending me messages. Somebody just sent me something and saying, your junior ones are running government in the UK. You are busy doing analysis in Arise. No, that's hate speech. That's hate speech. Okay, I'm not complaining. Ruben, doing analysis on television.
No, because those who you cannot even identify their schools are angling to be president. those whose certificates are questionable are all over the place.
At least you can see the trajectory
But
of
again,
people like this.
Our
Mr.
leadership recruitment system has to change.
Has to change.
The mediocrity of it all.
Maybe by the time this set of gerontocrats, like you try to describe them, have their way, maybe the next election we should be talking of younger people with bright ideas to lead.
Well, it's not just about
country.
leadership recruitment. Yes, leadership recruitment is part of it. But you also must build institutions.
Yes.
The system also has to work.
Yes.
Then there must be standards. Why did Boris Johnson, why did he lose his position? Because that's a society where there are standards, where you can't just break the law with impunity,
And get away.
where you cannot use government to break the law, brazenly. As someone said in a book titled How Government Breaks the Law. If you try that in some jurisdictions, you get sanctioned for it.
Yes.
And that's why Boris Johnson is out. One newspaper today is saying, oh, we are short of clowns in the UK just because,
You see?
well, in their own estimation, Boris Johnson has left, and so that has led to this shortage of clowns. So a society must have standards. But here, we don't have standards.
I mean,
Look at Nigerian Twitter, look at Nigerian Instagram, the level of unseriousness that goes on social media and even beyond social media in practical terms. And you wonder, how does this country move forward with this collection of persons who are far behind civilization and advancement, in all respects?
Dr. Agati, God bless you for raising the case of institutions. At least we are seeing a society there that we can attach them to institutions. We're talking about Oxford. We're talking about Cambridge. We're talking about other universities. What are the institutions that provide our own leaders? In France, most presidents at some point might have gone through École Nationale d'Administratif, ENA, or they go through, what is it called, the École Technologie, or, those elites leadership schools that, you would have gone through it.
We have names.
What?
We have names.
So
Policy and strategy.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
how
in
many,
Kuru.
how many of our public policy people, how many of our leaders that have gone through those policy institutions so that they can have a reawakening of their brain? How many? We should ask those questions, and we should bolster our institutions. I think maybe back in the days, we used to have schools like Ife, we used to have schools like Ibadan, we used to have schools like Unical. Look at me, Doctor.
Well, you still do.
The schools are still there.
Yeah, you still do.
But as in terms of providing that crop, we used to have schools like ABU. You used to have those fine old days.
They are still there.
When people say, okay, I went to
Producing
ABU,
graduates.
and there's a certain expectation. But can you say the same of those graduates any longer today?
Okay, what's happening with that?
Even what with ASUU?
The education sector is
That's
prospering.
another one.
No, let's not be too hard on ourselves. Even with the almost prostrate university system, we still produce bright brains.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Bright guys, and they go ahead to do great things.
Those schools
Maybe
are
not
there,
maybe
NIPS
not
is
in this
there.
country.
Yeah, elsewhere.
outside the country, to tell you that the system can still produce. But of course, we need to improve.
Yes, it's good you have said maybe outside this country. The major crisis that we have even in journalism for many years. When you recruit people from these Nigerian universities, you have to train them. You have to teach them how to write paragraphs.
Yeah.
How many of these our graduates coming out, that you wouldn't have to retrain? And that's why at a point in the Nigerian banking system, all you need to do to get a job in Nigeria's banking system is to have a false accent. And that's why we have in this country a proliferation of persons who go to UK or go to California for 1 week and they come back, they are speaking through their nose. Because it gives, a different impression. But it wasn't always like that in this country.
Yes.
Yes.
People,
You don't have to retrain those university graduates.
Yes,
and people
organizations
like
seem to value people with foreign degrees these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's the foreign degree, not the locally acquired foreign accent.
It's not
Which is
it's a degree.
It is tragic.
And
the standards fell here.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
Because
it.
the
So,
standards
That's
fell.
why people
so
get a foreign
organizations
degree.
feel that to be on the safe side,
Get a foreign degree.
let's
How
settle
sad is
for
that?
those who have foreign degrees or who have added some foreign degrees to their qualifications.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Eufemium. in the education sector. Let's see what that 14-man committee that has now been set up by the federal government comes up with.
And I hope another committee will not be set up to look at that committee's
A
reports.
subcommittee.
Amen to that, Mr. Fish.
Well, when you don't want to solve a problem in
set
Nigeria,
up committee.
You set up a committee. That committee finishes its work, you set up another committee.